Good afternoon and welcome to DU Digital. I'm Matt Vogel.
And I'm Sean Ray. Election season is upon us, and some first-time voters are anxious to cast their first ever ballot. This generation's newest voters prepare to decide on a leader for the United States. Lauren Zawatsky has our story.
Democrat or Republican? This is the choice that many new voters are going to have to face this November. Some of those voters are Hopewell area high school students like this one, who will get to participate in his first election in just a few short weeks.
I'm excited. It's going to be my first time voting, so something new to experience.
As of 2015, the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that the United States has over 31 million 18 to 24-year-olds, with about 4 million of those being 18. These high school seniors have many issues dear to their heart, and ones that might be surprising for more experienced voters.
For me, it's really about the economy, because as an 18-year-old, I want to have a situation where in 10 years the economy is better then than it is now.
Some students even have passionate responses to the political intensity around them, says Hopewell Civics teacher Janet Myers.
The students talk amongst themselves, and they stay very surfacey. When they start to get a little contentious, I try to back them off of it because we live in the community.
Though they aren't quite aged and experienced yet in the political world, altogether, America's youth hold political power, says senior Kivana Hill.
I feel like I have some influence. It may not seem like a lot, but all of us combined together could make a difference in the long run.
Regardless of the outcome of this year's election, it's sure to be one to remember for every voter. I'm Lauren Zawatsky with DU Digital.
Duquesne University Greek Life held its 65th annual carnival on Friday. The Union Ballroom was filled with performances from different social and professional Greek life organizations on campus.
And all of the different social Greek sororities and fraternities, as well as different professional organizations on campus, are paired up with one another, and there's 10 groups that are competing, and the theme this year is Greeks Go Global. So all of their shows revolve around something going on, either the Olympics, or we have people that are trick-or-treating around the world, or going and stopping by the Dublin and Rome campus, so they all have different variations, and they're very good.
The proceeds from the carnival benefit Duquesne University's campus at the Spiritism School in Ghana.
Parking woes for Duquesne students. Motorists using campus garages are continuing to run into problems. DU Digital's Rebecca Dvorak has the story.
For students parking on campus this semester, it can feel a little bit like the Hunger Games. If you're one of the unlucky tributes trying to battle for a parking spot in Forbes or Locust Garage, you might have noticed that spots are a little more difficult to come by than usual this semester.
It's been very below average, I think. When I usually get here, I already have to drive to the 12th floor, and it's still really early in the morning.
According to Duquesne's commuter affairs, commuters actually make up the largest portion of students on campus. Couple this with the biggest current freshman class the university has ever seen, and you have some believing that the school is purposely overselling parking spots in its garages.
A lot of people ask, did we oversell the garage? And it's actually not true. We do not oversell the garage. We never have.
However, the university does realize that parking seems to be more jammed than normal.
It's a lot more congested this year than other years we've noticed.
Rott says the reason why there's suddenly more cars in Duquesne's garages is because the price of the South Side Shuttle increased this year from $125 per semester to $200. In comparison, academic year parking passes for Forbes and Locust Garage are over $600. In an attempt to combat the parking pandemonium, Duquesne has added new surface parking spots, such as the ones located outside of the music school. But the best way to get a spot for class each morning?
I would say, just come early, obviously, make sure you're going to get a spot.
I'm Rebecca Dvorak with DU Digital. May the parking odds be ever in your favor.
It's that time of year again as students on college campuses prepare to schedule for the next semester of classes, a seemingly simple task that, for some students, can cause a headache. With the recent release of the Spring 2017 course catalog, students at Duquesne University are preparing for the upcoming semester. Class schedules have to be made around internships, jobs, and commutes, a process that is never easy. University advisors work with students to make sure that their academic needs and requirements are met. Registration officially begins the week of October 24th for early registrants. The 4 weeks afterwards cycle through from seniors to freshmen. Fifth-year senior Daniel Fadden said that his membership in the Honors College has helped him with scheduling.
Early registration definitely helped a lot for the Honors College because for the pre-pharmacy curriculum, they tell you what classes you have to take, and you can usually choose like 1 or 2 electives, but I had a lot of friends who didn't have the early registration that got stuck taking an 8 a.m. lab or a night class that they really didn't want to take, and every single semester I got every class I wanted. I never had to worry about it. It was really convenient.
Scheduling isn't the only cause of stress and anxiety for college students.
We go to DU Digital's Nora Herchick for more.
Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 40 million people over the age of 18.
Jeff Crayley is the postdoctoral resident at the Duquesne University Counseling and Wellbeing Center.
One thing that I think is important to think about is connection and community. I think people oftentimes rely on their social network to feel safe and to feel comfortable going through difficult times. But I think that oftentimes, this generation particularly is much more mobile, much less connected to the individuals around them than in previous times. And that comes at a cost. I think online communities can only offer so much in terms of true support. And so not having that physical connection to other people can be really detrimental.
The Counseling and Wellbeing Center at Duquesne University provides a variety of services for students, including a meditation room, where many of the programs are held.
Needs a place to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of the rest of school, and need a place to kind of come and be still and centered. They can always come and use the meditation room anytime.
An estimated 40 million Americans suffer from anxiety disorders. However, only about 1/3 of those people receive treatment for disorders that are highly treatable.
Former wellness educator Chris Mary stresses the importance of seeking professional help when needed.
But again, we have a vote, we have a choice, and even a small step towards taking care of ourselves can go a super long way. So if you see an opportunity, I encourage you to take that step forward.
I'm Nora Herchick with DU Digital.
Next up, we show how PA veterans are continuing to make an impact on Duquesne's campus.
And it may be fall, but Apple phones are dropping their price with their latest release. All that and more after the break.
Veterans are an important part of our community, both off campus and on.
We go to Seth Culp-Ressler exploring creative and unconventional ways to deal with the daily stresses of life.
Last Tuesday, a brand new art and poetry exhibit titled Beyond All Repair opened in Gumberg Library's popular reading room. J.C. Todd, the author of the poem and a 1965 Duquesne graduate, wrote the piece from the perspective of a female Air Force physician deployed in Iraq. The poem grew out of Todd's own experiences of teaching high school during the Vietnam War and having 2 sons deploy with the military. The piece hopes to bridge the gap between the larger Duquesne campus with the small veteran community also found on the bluff. Go to any of the main gathering spaces on Duquesne's campus, like the Student Union here, and you'll find students everywhere. Here in the Veterans Lounge, though, well, it's a different story.
And our number is hovering between 250 and 300, and it fluctuates, but we've been pretty consistent with that.
Still, Accomando said that Duquesne's proportion of student veterans, somewhere in the range of 2.5%, is on the higher end of the national average. Recently, Duquesne student veterans were successful in securing a grant from the Student Veterans Association of America and Home Depot to renovate their lounge. Duquesne is one of only 50 schools that received funding in 2016 to finish their space dedicated to veterans.
We're blessed that the university has given us this wonderful space. I mean, it's a great place to come and just be yourself.
For DU Digital, I'm Seth Culp-Ressler.
Apple released its highly coveted iPhone 7 last month. To mixed reactions. The phone features no headphone jack, and avid music lovers can instead purchase AirPods, Apple's Bluetooth headphones, for $160. Fans of the new iPhone says it has improved battery life over older models and better picture quality. The iPhone 7 can be purchased at local retailers for a cool $900 for the 128GB version. Coming up next, the home of the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins gets a new name, and not everyone is happy about it. Andrew explains next after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Andrew joins us now, and Andrew, many Pens fans have noticed the team's home is changing.
Yes, man, Sean, the location of the Stanley Cup champions may not be changing, but the iconic name is. The Penguins are looking to defend their Stanley Cup title, and now they'll be defending it in the newly renamed PPG Paints Arena.
With the 2016 NHL season about to begin, the Pittsburgh Penguins have been fully prepared to add a championship banner to their home. But after a surprising announcement, the Consol Energy opted out of their naming rights on October 4th. The Penguins are now getting a new name for their home, the PPG Paints Arena.
I was pretty shocked, for sure. Anytime you have a naming rights deal of this magnitude over 21 years that is kind of faulted only 6 years into the deal, it's definitely surprising of a change that is made, especially this close to a season. More on the facilities side with AEG, just the amount of work that they have to put in to gear up for the Stanley Cup banner raising on Thursday night, and just opening with all of the signage that needs to be changed. It's a lot of work for sure.
Just across the street, Super Bowl bartender Steve Green gave his thoughts on the arena's new name.
It is way too wordy. I like the paint can nickname that's been tossed around, even though I saw PPG came out and said, please don't call it the paint. That's the product you sell, right? I think that's kind of cool.
While many fans on social media seem to agree with Green's opinion, the Penguins aren't pressing the panic button just yet.
I think the reaction from the public is always going to be knee-jerk in a way. No one likes change right when it happens. But in the long run, the deal with PPG Paints and PPG Paints Arena going forward, I think it's a great deal that the city of Pittsburgh is overall going to be happy with.
Regardless of what you decide to call it, you can catch the Penguins season opener versus the Washington Capitals this Thursday at 7 p.m. as they roll out the red carpets and begin their Stanley Cup defense. I'm Eric Purnell with DU Digital.
And we all know the Pens take some hard hits despite being the best in the league, but there are others taking hits on the football field. Here's Sam Knoll with more.
Playing a game of pickup football can be a lot of fun, but today the risk of head injury is becoming apparent. Throughout the landscape of the sport, concussions are being suffered, and the effects are not only showing in the NFL, but in high school as well.
I remember another instance where one of my friends, he got rattled in the head real bad, and just during halftime just started talking about like ice cream and laughing out of nowhere. It was really weird, but it's what'll happen to you sometimes in the sport. It can, it's fun to play, but a lot of times the risk is, extremely major sometimes.
Neurological disorders are the biggest problem from head trauma.
Even players that just played in high school, long-term are at a higher risk for what they call CTE, which is essentially repeated trauma to the head over time, and that can leave you more susceptible to a variety of different things, a lot of like neurological disorders.
CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, has affected a number of NFL players as well, most notably Junior Seau, who committed suicide and later was found to have the disorder. Football can be fun, but it has some serious risks that must be taken care of. I'm Sam Knoll with DU Digital.
Well, that's it for DU Digital.
From all of us here, we want to thank you for joining us.